Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're continuing the multi-part series talking about how to choose the right handgun. And today we're talking about choosing the right handgun for home defense. So let's get going. When looking for the right home defense handgun, you'll want to take into consideration several different things. Now you will notice I've repeated myself several times in this series. That's because a lot of the things that dictate how well you use a handgun for target shooting or concealed carry will also translate into how well you'll be able to use that handgun for things like home defense. So there's going to be some crossover in considering these features and the features that you're looking for. One of the first things you'll want to take a look at is the size of the handgun and how well you shoot that handgun. Something like this 1911 is very ergonomic for me, and a lot of people would agree with that assessment. However, some folks will find it too big and heavy and awkward for a home defense handgun and something that they would use as daily carry handgun. And why did I bring up daily carry? That's because I recommend whatever you carry every day should probably be the same handgun that you use in a home defense situation. You don't want to have too many different types of handguns that you use for different applications. You may get confused in a stressful situation. I carry the same handgun that I leave in my safe at home for home defense in the evenings. That's just because it's more practical for me to do. Some folks can work well with multiple different handguns. I'm not one of them. So the 1911 may be a little bit big and awkward for some folks. You may want to consider something smaller. Now the 1911 can be used as a carry gun. I'm 6'4". I can easily conceal the handgun, and I've carried 1911s in the past. But if you're looking for something smaller, perhaps something like this P45 would be better suited both for daily carry and for home defense. You could take it right out of the holster, put it in your gun safe at home, and that's something else you may want to consider. Gun safes. If you have other people in your house, children, family members, or if you just have kind of an open door policy where friends come and go, you'll want to lock that handgun up. You don't want to leave a handgun unattended. Now, some gun safes are very small. They'll fit into something like a nightstand, which is something that I use, a very small, thin gun safe that I can conceal in my nightstand. And some of the gun safes are very big and can hide or conceal much bigger handguns in them, but because of their size, they're harder to hide, I should say. So you're not going to hide that in your bedroom as easily. Somebody walks in, they're going to identify that gun safe very quickly. I opt for the smaller gun safe, and therefore I opt for smaller handguns. I can take it right out of the holster, put it right in there, put it right back on in the morning, and I can hide that gun safe. Another consideration is something like muzzle flash and report. If you're going to have to shoot that weapon inside of a house in a home defense situation, something like a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum is not something you're going to want to fire indoors. It could do permanent damage to your hearing. Just about any gunshot fired indoors is going to do permanent damage to your hearing. But something super powerful like a Magnum cartridge could blow your eardrums out. So you'll want to take that in consideration. 9mm, 40 and 45 are typically good self-defense and home defense cartridges. A longer barrel will reduce that muzzle flash somewhat. In a dark room, a muzzle flash can both blind you and your attacker. You don't want to lose your night vision in a dark scenario. Now that's something else you ought to consider. A flashlight. If you want to mount things to your handgun, something like a laser to assist you in aiming in low light or light, you'll need a 1913 type rail on the bottom of the handgun. Now, I personally don't recommend putting lights on your defensive handgun if you're just a standard civilian. Now, law enforcement and military, I'm excluding you from that statement. But for me, I have children in the home. I don't want to use my handgun as a flashlight when I'm looking for potential threats. I don't want to have to cover my children with the muzzle of my weapon. I prefer to have a separate light that I can use in conjunction with my handgun, so I can do this. I can have the handgun in one hand and the light in the other. You can also hold the light like this where it's in your fingers. There's a number of different ways you can use a flashlight, but I do recommend you have one, and this is a small little PowerTech light that I keep in my nightstand, and I also carry it with me every day, and it works well with my defensive handguns. Now, another thing that you'll probably want to consider is the fact you'll want to practice with your handgun. I highly recommend you do that. A lot of people buy guns, they stick them in a safe or they stick them in a holster, and they shoot them once a year, if that. You'll want to practice with your defensive handgun. If you're going to do that, you'll probably want to take into consideration the cost of that ammunition. 9mm is very affordable. 40 Smith & Wesson is less affordable, but it's still more affordable than 45. So be sure that you buy a caliber that is well suited to your budget. If you guys have any questions about anything I've said in this video, you can ask those questions on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/military arms. Thanks everybody for watching this video series. I really appreciate your support, and I'll talk to you guys soon.